Hello, 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 everyone. This is Nana for Tangle Time Arts. And today we are finally going to take a look at tile 8 of the mosaic tiles that we've been doing, following along a fragment of your imagination challenge from 7 Forests, 5 Rivers. This is our final tile. And what you'll need is a Micron 01 or any black pen. And I've got a number 2 pencil and a tortillon. I also have the original tile that we put the mosaic reticula on, or you could simply have printed it from the PDF, which is about an apprentice size tile. So you can print that off and cut it out, and that works really, really well. All right, so we've got tile 8, and we're going to get started with our square fragment. And what we have for day 29, the square fragment is Mucha Bee 8. So got a cute little bee in there. And then for the 30th, we had SnailZ with a Z. And that's this cute, it's like a printa with an S curve and an aura. And that was for the 30th in the circular fragment. And then for the 31st, in our triangle, it's a 3-in-1, which was co-designed by 3 different people. So we've got 3 tiny little designs in there. And then for our seed shape, because there's no January 32nd, you can choose any seed shape that you'd like to put in there, whether it's one we've already done, or at the end of the PDF, there are actually some extra fragments you can choose from, and I really like this one, so I'm going to be using this one. I don't know what it's called, but I like it. All right, let's get started with our tile and our black pen, and we are going to start with Mucha Bee 8, and that is these cute little bee shapes. So I'm going to rotate my tile this way, and I want my little bees to be kind of in the center. You could do it the other way and have your little bee bodies be kind of on the outside, but I'd like to have them all in the center. I'm going to start kind of along one of these lines, and it's almost like an S shape that goes into like an antenna. And then I'm going to follow along the other line here and then do an S shape the opposite way. And then I'm going to fill in these curves to make a B shape. I'm going to rotate so that I can fill in some stripes. And for this one, I like to do my bees first. And I'm going to ink in some of these stripes, leaving kind of a shine in there. Like that. And then Mucha Bee 8 has a lot of detail, but I think I'm going to finish off with a curve that way. And then I will aura that. Then I'm going to put a little triangle in there. And then I'm going to simply ink this in. And if you want to use a whiter black pen to ink this in, that would be awesome. It would be faster. So I'm going to leave that like that. All right, I'm going to rotate and I'm going to work on another bee. Let's see. Fill in my stripes. You could fill in more stripes than I have, if you'd like to, especially if you're working on the larger tile, you might be able to fill more in. On the smaller tile, you can't fit too many of them in. I'm gonna rotate that and then put in this corner detail. And ink that in. We have 2 bees, and I'm going to rotate that. And we just keep filling in our bees. The bees are perfect for springtime. I don't know where you live, but here in the Chicago area, yesterday we had 70-degree weather, and today it's probably around freezing, so it's been fluctuating, but spring is in the air. And then we've got one more to fill in here. All right, and then let's get that corner detail. It's kind of a little bit of a tight space. All right, so we have our first set of square fragments filled in with 4 bees. And we're going to do the same over on this side as well. You could, if you wanted to, just do the bee parts first. Why don't we go ahead and do that? It's totally up to you. Keep rotating so that you're comfortable. And then let's get another one here. Spaces get a little bit tight, but we just fit them in as best as we can. And our last bee. See here. Trying to figure out how I'm going to fit that in, but there we go. Kind of a little wonky bee. All right, and then let's get our corner details. And remember, that's a curve with an aura and a little triangle. Curve with an aura and a little triangle. There's more that you could add to that, but it doesn't fit quite so well into the smaller space. And then I'm going to ink that in. All right, we have our square fragments finished. And now we're going to move on to the circular fragments with the SnailZ, and that's a Z on the end. And we're simply starting with print top. I'm going to start with one of these larger circles so it's easier to see. And just to remind you, print top kind of starts like a cursive C, and you aura around it. Several times. And then we're going to fill in an S curve. And then we are going to aura in this space like that. You can, at this point, add some weight to some of these curved lines, or as we call it, add a little love like that. And that's, you kind of take a look and decide where you'd like to add a little love. And then I like to take this one a step further and actually ink this area in. That's optional, and you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I kind of like the added drama that inking that in brings. All right, and that's SnailZ, and we're going to fill in all of these. I think I'll go with the smaller ones first. And you could either start this way or this way for your S curve. Whatever is more comfortable for you. And then take a look and see if you want to add a little love. I'm not going to add a lot, just a little bit here and there. All right, and we're getting smaller here. Put our aura in there. And let's see, just add a tiny bit of love there. All right, now I'm going to switch, excuse me, got a little bit of a cold today. I'm going to go to the flip side, and whereas we started with a C, I think I'm going to do a backwards C and do the opposite, just to kind of get the mirror image for the preta part. And then the S curve and the aura. And maybe I'll add a little bit of love here. And a little bit here. And then ink this in. Like that. And then we'll just work our way down. Let's see, do I want to add a little here? Maybe I'll add it to this one. So you're going to add a little bit of love wherever you feel it's needed, and it's not required. That's optional. And especially in these smaller ones, you may choose not to. Like that. And then for the one on the top, how about, let's do it a little differently. So I'm going to rotate a little bit and start kind of on the center line. I'll create a really nice large print. Then an S curve. And then I'm going to aura in here. That in. And then add a little love. rotate a little bit. I guess I'm basically adding a little weight to the areas that are a little wider. If you're wondering how I'm choosing where to add a little weight, it's in those spaces where there's a little bit more room that I can fit that in. Rotate a little bit and add a little bit here. All right, so now we have our circle fragments filled in, and we can move on to our triangle fragments. I'm going to rotate this way so I can work in these 3 areas like we've been doing for our other mosaic tiles. This is a bit of a challenge because we're fitting 3 different designs into one triangle. So for all of them, I'm starting with kind of a center dot so I can divide up the triangles. And from the center, I'm going to each corner. And I'm doing that for each triangle. All right, and then the easiest part of this fragment is this one of the sides gets little triangles in it. And I'm just going to fill that in for each one. Like that. And then on the right-hand side, we are going to aura this shape. So we go to the point and then go straight down to the center of that line. And it's the same for the other side. And then we are going to ink in this area. So it's very easy. We just aura that line to the point and then go to the center of the opposite line. It's simple and it has a lot of drama because we add the ink. And then the same over here. And then we have one last triangle within the triangle left. And for this, we simply add a circle in the center. And then we aura around each side a few times. I'm going to do as many times as I can fit in there, like that. I'm going to rotate a little bit, add in my circle, and then aura around it. And the same over here. If you have a little space up here, you could ink that in. All right, and that's it for the triangle shapes. And now we have the seed fragment. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's one of the options in the packet at kind of the end of the packet. And so it starts with a circle on each side of the seed shape. So you want to put a little circle in each corner. And I would say for me, the circle is about half the size of my pen cap. So it's not large. And then you're going to pick a side that you want to work on. I'm going to work from the left over to the right. And we're going to add circles, but each time we add one, they're a little smaller. So the circles, orbs, if you'd like to call them that, or perfs, and they get pretty small. All right. And then I'm going to rotate my tile so I can, again, work from the left to the right because that's more comfortable for me. You might want to work from the right to the left. And that's awesome. There's no rule saying which way you have to go. So I'm putting in my little orbs, which are like circles, going from the larger one down to a smaller one, smaller ones. All right. And then for me, I would like to ink in these areas here. And we'll do this here. And I also want to ink in these little spaces here. Over this one so it's a little wider. And you might want to go over your orbs a couple of times to give it more definition. It actually looks rounder if you do that. All right. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm rotating around my orbs. And fill in these spaces. Like that. And then the last detail of this seed fragment is to add some curved lines. And you want to have a little bit of a break in there. And the break doesn't have to be in the same place each time. And once you get to the center, you're going to go the other way, curve the other way. Like that. All right. And we're going to do the same for these three little seed fragments. It gets a little more challenging because these are smaller areas. And I'm going to fill in all the circular parts first, all of the orbs first. That. I'm going to rotate. It's a pretty tight fit. tiny spaces as best as you can. And then I'm going to rotate and add just a few lines. Like that. So there we have the inked in part for tile 8 filled in. I'm going to put the pen on my cap now and take number 2 pencil, and I am going to add a little shading to the Mucha Bee 8, and you have a choice as to where you want to add it. I'm going to add some shading kind of around this part. So I'm going to put pencil in some graphite there. There's always different ways that you can add shading. This is just one of the ways. And then I think I'll add a little bit in here. Like that. And we'll do the same on the other side. I'm not adding a lot of graphite, just a touch of it. I'm not pressing very hard. You can always go back and add more later if you would like more. Like that. And then I have to decide what to do with the SnailZ. And I think I'm going to add a little bit along the outside of the S curves. All right, and then I probably want to add some around the outside of the circles. All right, and now we are at our triangle shapes, and I've been adding some to these corners of the triangles that do not get any tangles in there. And then I think for this, I'm going to keep it simple and just run a little graphite along here, along this circle, like that. And I think that's about it. I think I'm going to keep it very, very simple. And then for the seed fragments, I'm going to add some graphite at each end. And the same with the smaller ones, like that. Now I'm going to trade my pencil for my tortillon. And very lightly, I'm just rubbing the tortillon back and forth along the graphite. Do the same on the other side. Like that. And then we'll move on to our circle fragments. So I am blending on the outside first. And then along the S curve. Like that. And then we have our triangle fragments. And I'm just going to go along the circle like that and also blend these out. All right. And our seed fragments going from the points towards the center. Like that. And we have our finished tile 8 of the mosaic. So we can flip it over, and I like to put my name on there. And this is February 28th, 24, and this is tile 8. And let's see, we had Mucha Bee 8, and that was for the 29th. On the 30th, we had SnailZ. On the 31st, we had, I'm just going to call it a 3-in-1. And I don't know what the seed fragment was called, what the last one was called. So we'll just leave that blank. So that is tile 8. Let me see if I can pull out the other ones. Yeah. So we have we can kind of mix and match here as far as what we had. So this is number 5, and this is number 6 here. And then I think this was 7 and 8. So you can mix and match those around. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see better. So we have 5, 6, 7, and 8, and you can rotate them around. And I think what I'll do is I'll do an additional demo where we can add a little bit of color to these and mix and match and play around with them. But for now, you've got tiles 5, 6, 7, and 8 all together. And you can play around with that and mix and match with tiles 1 through 4 as well. And I'll be back with an additional demo, adding a little bit of color and finishing with shading, and just making sure it looks like a complete project. So thank you for joining me. It's been fun, and it's awesome that we have all 8 tiles finished, and it's been quite the journey. And I'll see you again for another demo. Until then, have a great day, and remember, I love you guys. See you next time.